Two titans collide in an epic battle of strength and deception. Can Hulk's fury overcome Loki's mind games? Or will the God of Mischief finally break the Green Giant? Find out in this clash of legends. The sky over the ruined city was a swirling vortex of black clouds, a perfect mirror to the chaos that had begun to unravel below. Once a thriving metropolis, this place now lay in ruins, shattered by a battle so fierce it had broken the very bones of the earth. The streets were choked with debris, the remnants of buildings casting long shadows over the wreckage. The air was thick with the scent of burnt metal and sulfur, the ground trembling with every distant footfall. In the center of the devastation stood a figure, his green skin glowing ominously under the darkened sky, eyes burning with raw fury. The Hulk, the unbridled beast of destruction, had come to a reckoning. But this was no ordinary battle. The enemy he faced was not one that could be defeated by brute strength alone. No! This was a battle of wits and power, a test of endurance and manipulation. High above, perched on a jagged, crumbling rooftop, the master of deception watched with a smile filled with mischief and unspoken malice. Loki, the God of Mischief, was about to witness firsthand the clash of titans he had orchestrated. Loki had spent years studying the Hulk, learning to exploit the one thing that the Green Giant could never control: his mind. The God of Mischief knew that while the Hulk's power was limitless, his mind was a vulnerable spot, easily twisted by illusions and deception. And Loki had crafted the perfect trap, one that would break the Hulk's spirit and in turn his body. It began with a whisper. The Hulk's mind, like an untamed animal, was always a battlefield. His emotions ran wild, shifting from anger to grief, from rage to confusion. Loki had learned to manipulate these emotions, to cloud the Hulk's mind with lies, illusions, and twisted visions. As the Hulk stomped through the streets, his massive footsteps shaking the earth beneath him, Loki's magic reached out like a ghostly hand, curling around the Hulk's mind. Suddenly, the world around the Hulk began to change. The buildings around him twisted and warped, distorting into impossible shapes. The sky, once an endless expanse of dark clouds, turned a fiery red, glowing like the aftermath of an inferno. The Hulk's roar echoed in the streets, but the sound was wrong, muted, distant, as if coming from another world. And then, the figures appeared. Hulk's heart stuttered in his chest as he saw the faces of his beloved allies: Bruce Banner, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff. They stood before him, but something was different. Their eyes were hollow, their faces cold and distant, as if they didn't recognize him, as if they were strangers. "Bruce," Hulk growled, stepping forward. "Where are you?" But the faces of his friends twisted into sneers, their voices cold and mocking. "You're nothing but a monster," Steve's voice rang out, distorted and cruel. Tony's voice joined in, dripping with contempt. "You're all alone, Hulk. You always will be." The Hulk's breath caught in his throat. These were the words he feared the most. The whispers that echoed in his mind when he was alone, when he wasn't smashing. He was nothing but a monster, a beast that was only good for destruction. But it wasn't real. Loki's laugh echoed across the twisted landscape, cutting through the illusory voices like a knife. The Hulk knew deep down that this wasn't true. It couldn't be. His friends, his team, had never abandoned him. They had stood by him, fought with him, with a roar of defiance. Hulk slammed his fist into the ground, sending shockwaves through the illusion. The distorted images of his friends shattered, their mocking voices fading away into the ether. But Loki wasn't done. The ground beneath Hulk's feet cracked open, revealing molten lava that began to pour from the cracks. Waves of fire surged towards him, threatening to engulf him. The heat was intense, but Hulk, with a roar, leapt into the air, his massive green form soaring over the flames. But Loki's magic was not finished. With a flick of his fingers, the illusion grew stronger. The city around him shifted again, becoming a maze of fire and shadow. The very environment seemed to twist against Hulk, the buildings moving as if alive, the streets warping and bending into new shapes. For every step Hulk took, the ground collapsed beneath him, opening into chasms filled with fire and brimstone. But the Hulk was relentless, his rage pushing him forward despite the endless obstacles. Loki's eyes glinted with satisfaction as he watched the chaos unfold below. He had woven his illusions carefully, manipulating the very fabric of reality to ensnare the Hulk. But he knew the beast was strong. He had expected Hulk to resist, and that was why he had prepared for this moment. As Hulk battled against the shifting world, Loki raised his hand, summoning the final piece of his plan, a massive, enchanted staff imbued with the power to manipulate not just reality, but time itself. The staff hummed with energy, glowing with a dark, purple light. Loki spoke a single word, and the ground beneath Hulk's feet gave way completely. Hulk plummeted into a dark abyss, his body crashing into the rocky ground below. The world spun, and for a moment, he thought he might be lost forever. But the Hulk's fury was far from extinguished. With a growl, Hulk leapt back to his feet, his muscles bulging with power. The earth trembled beneath him as he punched through the ground, breaking free from the trap Loki had set. His anger burned hotter than the lava around him, and nothing, no illusion, no trick, could hold him down. Loki's smile faltered for the briefest of moments, but he quickly recovered. He had underestimated the Hulk's resilience. The staff in his hand glowed brighter as Loki began to summon his minions, massive shadow creatures summoned from the depths of his magic. They were monstrous in size, towering over the Hulk with claws and teeth sharp enough to tear through steel. Hulk turned to face them, his fists clenched. He was tired, but the battle was far from over. With a mighty roar, he charged into the horde, smashing through them with every strike. Each blow sent creatures flying, their bodies disintegrating on impact. But Loki, always scheming, was not far behind. He had learned from his past defeats, and he would not make the same mistake twice. As Hulk fought, Loki's voice echoed through the storm, manipulating the environment once again. The air grew thick with illusions, each one designed to push the Hulk further, to break him down. Just as Hulk seemed to be gaining the upper hand, Loki unleashed his final trick. With a snap of his fingers, he created an illusion so powerful that even the Hulk couldn't ignore it. Before the Hulk's eyes, the figure of Bruce Banner appeared, standing before him with a sad, disappointed look on his face. "Hulk," Banner said softly, "you'll never be enough. You'll never control your rage. You'll always be a monster." Hulk's heart wrenched. The pain of being misunderstood, of being abandoned, flooded him. The illusion of Banner wasn't just a trick. It was a truth he had always feared, a truth that echoed in his deepest thoughts. The ground beneath him began to tremble once more, and this time, it wasn't the magic of Loki at work. It was the weight of the Hulk's emotions, his own inner conflict threatening to tear him apart. His green form flickered, wavering between the Hulk and Bruce Banner. Loki, sensing the shift, grinned. This was his chance. But before Loki could deliver the final blow, something deep within Hulk snapped. With a primal roar, Hulk's rage exploded. His form surged with energy, burning brighter than the surrounding flames. The illusion shattered, the air itself cracking with the force of his fury. In that moment, Hulk was no longer a beast driven by anger. He was a force of nature, unstoppable and pure. When Loki raised his enchanted staff for a final move, Hulk struck first, shattering the weapon and sending Loki crashing into the earth with a thunderous blow. As the trickster vanished in defeat, Hulk stood victorious, not just against Loki but against the doubts that plagued him. No illusion could ever break his true strength.